Hey, comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. And fans, you're with me, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to bring you another countdown. That's right, fans, we're on countdown number 82. This week we have 14 comic books to talk about all together. Now, I don't have a lot of time. I got to get to work, and I got to work all day tomorrow, so this may seem a little bit rushed. So I apologize in advance, but at least we'll get this week's countdown in. So with that being said, let's not waste any more time, and we're going to start off with number 14, and number 14 was Batgirl issue number 36. Now, honestly, guys, I gave this a legitimate try. I gave it 2 issues. I just can't stomach it. I just don't like it. Um, I don't like the plot here. It has to just go around with just oh my God, it just has to go with Batgirl just running around in her school and she's talking to her older professor that she has this crush on. Again, it focuses heavily on, modern day stuff, which I guess it's okay, but this comic for me took forever to develop. There was just lots of dialogue here. It was exhausting to read this book, with these young people in it. So this book, I just may be too old for this book because I just can't stand all the things that have to do with these dating accounts, and then you gotta get she's got to get her her computer fixed because her computer was stolen last time, and she's trying to get all the files from a hard drive. And then she comes across these people that drive these crazy motorcycles that winds up being connected to some type of anime or manga show or whatnot. And I was just like, oh, come on, at times, the art is okay in here. There's decent facial expressions in here. But like this is just, oh my God, this is just such unnecessary dialogue. The times where this book does shine is when Barbara is being her detective self, when she's trying to go through different types of steps of the scene or what actually happens. Artwork had some flashes in here with some action scenes or whatnot, which I thought was pretty cool. Again, here's a 2 pages with nice pictures in there. But the actual villains and the plot lines and everything surrounding the whole story, I just can't gravitate to it. It's just not appealing to me. Again, this is what it resolves around. So in the end, guys, it's just not for me. It's just not my taste. I preferred the previous Batgirl series with Gail Simone writing it, and this is just too modern day. All the lingo and just emails and all the technology driven type of book. I just not for me. So yeah, I'm not going to be reading this anymore. I'm going to give it like a 2.5 out of 5 stars. So didn't like it. So next, going forward, number 13, there was part of a story in this one that I kind of enjoyed, where I can say why this got the 14th pick was because I didn't enjoy any part of this story. There was parts in here that I did enjoy with Future's End. Now, Future's End, every time a particular part of a story really gets good, it like ends and goes to the other story. So in this part of the issue, which was the beginning, you get to see Lois finally land on the island because she was always set with these coordinates and she was always afraid to see what was at the bottom because there was just an ocean. But like I said last week, it's obviously cloaked. So she lands on the island, she finds out where she's at, and she comes across a OMAC here, and she's trying to wrap her head around everything that's going on in the actual issue. And what happens is she comes face to face with herself here. And so when the issue ends there, or when that story ends, it's like, man, I really want to get into that part of the story. And now they let it go. And it's just like, that's what drives me crazy about this book. And then it brings you to another part of the story, which I really don't care about. It has to do with voodoo and 50 Sue and everything else that's going on in there. And she's crying that Deathstroke's in charge with Brother's Eye. And it was just a boring part of the story. You also get another part of the story where you have Batman and you have Terry McGinnis fighting each other, which I thought their fight was unmeaningful. You really don't know what they're fighting for. They're just fighting each other. And by the time you get to the end of this issue, you find out that crazy Mr. Professor rewatches his wife's death over and over and over again. And we get to see Jason, who comes across the professor's hit list, and he is going to do the experiment on Madison there. And it looks like we'll find out that in the next issue, she will probably be transformed to a new Firestorm, which I thought was pretty neat. So this was a better issue. It was just that middle part of the story that I didn't like with the whole 50 Sue thing. But that's the problem with Future's End. Every time you get into a good part of a story, they leave you with it and they give you a shit part of the story. So after reading this one, I give it an average 3 stars. Pretty much what I give it every single week. 3 out of 5. All right, so moving on, we're going on to number 12. And number 12 is Captain America and the Mighty Avengers, issue number 1. Now, I like what Access is kind of doing. It's changing all the bad guys into good guys and good guys into bad guys. But what this book kind of reminds me of is, in a way, it's reminding me of Superior Spider-Man. It's like, let's make them evil and let's do bad things. Let's give them an edge. And that's what they're doing with Sam Wilson. And I think it's good to an extent, but then it kind of pushes the boundaries a little bit too far. And they draw the book really dark because of his personality, which I don't like. And I don't like the people that are teaming up with him. You come across these random recruits, and you get to see Luke Cage be all upset with Spider-Man in this issue because of the results that happened in Superior Spider-Man. And Spider-Man was real whiny in this issue, and I didn't really like that either. And we come across this generic like villain, which I didn't like in the issue also. And by the time you get to the end of it, we get to see obviously Sam, the Captain America, be the bad guy here, and it looks like that he wants to get rid of all the other people that have to do with the Mighty Avengers. And I don't know, I just didn't find the story really intriguing to me. And he's going to be toning up with Tony Stark, which I like Tony Stark's story, but I didn't like Sam Wilson's story here. There was nothing here that drew me to this book that said, oh my God, I got to get number 2. I feel like that I can just, forget about it and I'm not going to miss anything. So with that being said, I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5 as well. All right, so going forward now, we're moving on to number 11, and number 11 was Suicide Squad issue number 4. This story kind of dropped off for me as well this time around. It seemed like the artwork regressed in here, a lot of sketchy artwork. Didn't enjoy it too much. I didn't get a lot of facial expression here. And really the point of this book was Deadshot was captured by Deathstroke in this issue. And we get to see Manta and Harley Quinn go after and try to rescue him. And that's really what this issue in a nutshell was about here. You get to see them fight through other characters, bad guys and whatnot. Very little dialogue in this story. But again, the artwork just seemed off, not like its usual detailed style of art. And we get to see Vic, who's the one that's supposedly in control of the Suicide Squad, is no longer in control. He's lost emotional control of the situation. Amanda Waller is the one that seems to be like she's the one that's going to be in charge here. And by the time you get to the end of the issue, they wind up rescuing Deadshot, and that's pretty much it that happens in this issue. We get to see some random guy just leave his card behind. So it's kind of like, all right, this was the whole first story arc of Suicide Squad. For me, it became very mediocre. It was Deathstroke's in this series, but he's here to just obviously make money. He's here for the biggest payday, and it was just a battle between these 4 characters, and you're really not sure what's going to happen with the team next. You don't know really what's going on with Joker's daughter. You don't know what's happening with Deadshot. You don't know what story they're going on to next. you don't know if this Vic character is going to be involved anymore. So I'm not really sure what to think of the new Suicide Squad after the first 4 issues. I liked the first couple issues, and then 3 was okay, and then 4 just kind of dropped off for me off of this first story arc. So, if you're looking to buy this one, you might be able to hold off on this. So, this is Suicide Squad issue number 4. I'm going to give it probably a 3 out of 5 as well. 14, 13, 12, 11. So moving on, we're going on to number 10. And number 10 was probably one of my most disappointed comics of the week. And it was Spiderverse, issue number 1. I really thought that Spiderverse was going to tell a story based off of the Amazing Spider-Man book. And then it was going to play Amazing Spider-Man number 10 was going to play off of this book. And what this book did was it really just gave you more mini stories of Spider-Verse off of spider characters that we don't know, that we have no connection to. So why would I really want to read this book for $5? I felt that I was disappointed with it. Yeah, we get to see cool other stories with different Spider-Verse characters, but it really didn't have to do with anything. You get to see different version of Venom and whatnot. But I wasn't impressed by this. Actually, I was very disappointed by the time I got to reading it because I thought it was playing off of the whole Spider-Verse thing. It just gets you more immersed into the whole great web of all these different spider characters. There were some cute stories in here that I thought that was enjoyable, where you learn about this girl. Her name is Penelope Parker, and she gets, you know, powers for the first time and how she deals with them. There was some nostalgia thing with Hostess cakes in there, with Merlin was involved in that situation. But the overall thought process here again was me thinking that I was going to read this great story for $5 to continue off of that Spider-Verse thing, and I didn't get that here. And I was really disappointed with this. I spent $5, and you don't need to. You don't need to read any single story of this to get what's going on in the Amazing Spider-Man book right now. So this was really a waste of money. And, I enjoyed the stories here because I am a Spider-Man fan. So I personally gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. But in the end, it really is more like an average book. You can take it or leave it. So that's why this one got pretty much that 3.5 mark. So we're going on to now 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. So we're going on to number 9. And number 9 goes into Earth 2 World's End, issue number 6. The book is solid. It's, got a good story. I think it's the best book for all the weeklies going on here. In this issue, you got Dr. Fate trying to destroy famine throughout the issue, and different events are happening through the Earth 2 universe. You get to see, what's her name? Oh my God, I forgot her name. Queen of Atlantis. Okay, Aquaman woman dealing with her situation in here. We had this whole situation with a clone of Superman that developed here because you were left cliffhang with the end of the last issue with Clark maybe possibly still being alive, but right away that was resolved because you find out that they found this facility filled with Supermen in here that were all clones. The Huntress is being held hostage. We get to see Green Lantern and Grundy working together, and we find out something. We find out a huge cliffhanger here with Alan Scott's boyfriend or fiance or not, and we find out that he is the avatar of the White, which I thought was kind of comical here. I was like, really? Now we have an avatar of the White, and it's his ex fiance and boyfriend. You get to see some tough dialogue here between Cal and Thomas Wayne on how to handle certain situations. So there wasn't too much progression that just went on here. It was just a lot of dancing around things. It was okay issue. There's going to be a lot of stalling with this series based off of how many issues there is, but there is lots of action. The artwork is consistent in here. I do enjoy it, and I'm going to give this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars. All right, so going forward, We're going on to 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. We're going on to number 8. Number 8 was Thor, issue number 2. Thor was okay, but we still don't know who Thor is. We don't know who the goddess of thunder actually is. And I was hoping that they would reveal that this time around. But you get to see her reveal the actual hammer this time, and you know, her holding the hammer and dealing with it, and it's cool because you get to see like her thought process here, and then she winds up speaking like a god, you know, so you see in her internal thought and her then speaking like a god, which I thought was, which is really awesome, and her handling and dealing with the hammer for the first time. The artwork is really well done here. I enjoy the artwork. You know, a lot of it tells the story of what's happening. And then we get to see her deal with the situation that happens with these gigantic frost giants in this issue. But really, what I was hoping for, I was just hoping for some kind of idea of who this new Thor is, and you still don't really get that by the time of the end of the issue. I think that's what I'm curious about. The rest of the story, I was like, oh, okay, it's all right. We got some battles against, you know, some frost giants and whatnot, and it looks like it's going to continue here moving forward. So will I pick up the next issue? It's going to start determining based off of the type of week, because I do get so many comics, and I really want to know who she is and how she deals with the situation of being the new goddess of thunder. So after reading this one, I'm going to give this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars. All right, so going forward now, we go on to number 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's going to go to Hobgoblin, issue number 2. Now, last time I reviewed Hobgoblin, I thought the concept of it was phenomenal. I thought it was great that he was sitting there just being this infomercial, this motivational speaker guy, and Robert Kingsley was going all out, and I thought it was just so comical. And then you wind up finding out that um, Lily Hollister was still alive, and she goes with Kingsley as well, based off of the end of the issue. So I was really interested to see how this one ends, and or how this story progresses. Actually, there's one more issue after here. But in this issue, you wind up finding out that the Goblin King is pissed off at Roderick Kingsley in this issue, and he wants 60% of his company because he feels like he's the one that's in charge. He is the Goblin King or whatnot. And the dialogue in this book is really comical again with Kingsley, because he always is selling himself. He's always selling them about taking selfies of himself with the kids, or selling his latest book or magazine, or saying something. He's got other people rescuing kids for him, which I thought was kind of funny. And then in the issue, you wind up seeing that, again, Ulrich wants to discuss with Kingsley about buying the business, so they're going to wind up meeting at a secret headquarters. In between, you get these funny little advertisements, which I thought was comical in the issue as well. And then you get to see Ulrich show up, and they discuss business, and Ulrich comes across Lily in here, which is otherwise known as King Cat, I think it was. Queen Cat, sorry, Queen Cat. So she's like a wannabe, I guess, Catwoman, or, you know, or whatnot. So, or Black Cat. She's like one of those type of characters, and she has no recollection of who she is. And we get to see that they start fighting each other. And by the time you get to the end of this issue, Ulrich winds up escaping, and we find out that some of Kingsley's people don't want to be so loyal with him, and they wind up wanting to team up with Ulrich. So we're going to see where this goes, and then we're going to see what happens with Lily. I thought this was a good issue. I don't think it was nearly as good as the first issue, just because the whole franchising thing, the motivational speaker thing. Now this gets down to the root of the story, and you know, it was just above average for me, but I enjoyed it. It's still a good read, and yeah, so 3.5 out of 5 stars for me. All right, next we go on to number 6. and number 6 was Access, issue number 5. This book was good. However, it's just like it's like everyone's flipped upside down, and they're just looking for any type of reason to destroy each other. Nova and Spider-Man wind up coming together because there's this big meeting that's happening with the Avengers, and Falcon is basically saying that the Avengers are clumsy and they're going to hold people responsible for the events that just happened. And then Sam Wilson winds up going to capture all the Avengers, and Spider-Man and Nova escape in time. And what happens in this issue then is it was like this huge setup for the X-Men to come. And I'm trying to remember what happens because I read it just like a week ago. And the X-Men wind up coming with Apocalypse. And it was like this setup. They're like, oh, how perfect is this to set you guys up and whatnot. And basically, they don't want anything to do with humankind anymore. And they're going to do this battle with the Avengers. And Apocalypse is like Apocalypse again. And it looks like he is the one that's in charge of all the X-Men once again. So, it was kind of a simplistic plot in this particular issue, but you can see where Apocalypse is in charge of these X-Men now, and he wants nothing to do with humankind, and he wants to get rid of the Avengers so they can complete their mission, and they're all on board here. So, again, it will be interesting to see where the story goes. I thought it was good. It wasn't as good, I thought, as the previous issue or whatnot. So I'm giving this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars as well. All right, next, we're going on to our top 5 books of the week, and top 5 was Miles Morales, the Ultimate Spider-Man. That's right, fans. Now, here on this cover, it shows Katie Bishop on there, and a lot of us thought that, this would focus on Katie Bishop. Well, it really doesn't. It does with one page, and it gives you a huge hint of what's going on, but it doesn't the whole story's not evolves around Katie Bishop. This particular story really wraps up the Peter Parker story because Peter Parker knows he's alive, he's not a clone, and Miles and Peter continue to do battle against Norman Osborn, which I thought, honestly, the beginning part of this story was just repetitive of what we've been seeing with Miles and Peter, of them just battling Norman Osborn. He's like, I will burn you. I am immortal. I am your father. I'm going to beat you up. And then you're dead again. And then he comes back again. And it was the same thing again. And it kept on going again. You get my picture. That's how it was. He's flexing his muscles throughout the entire issue. It kept on going and going and going. And he uses the same power Miles does to defeat him. And he keeps waking up and he uses the same power. And finally, it seems by the time you get 3/4 through the issue, after waking up and battling, that Miles finally prevails and knocks Norman Osborn out. You think he's dead, but he's probably not dead because we've seen him come back alive. And finally, towards the end of the issue, you see Peter. He's going to hang it up. He says that Miles is the one that needs to be the Spider-Man. Peter's been through a lot. He wants nothing to do with it right now. And you see him and Mary Jane drive off into the sunset in a car together. And I think in many ways, it's a way to pay tribute to the Spider-Man fans that always wanted Peter Parker and Mary Jane to get back together again. And so that's why those two drove off into the sunset. Will you see them again? Not sure. I think we will, but maybe Ultimate Peter Parker might be a spin-off book in the future, and he won't show up here. Maybe they'll do crossovers, whatever it is. I just can't see Ultimate Spider-Man staying gone forever, so we'll see what happens with that. The next story is you get to see Katie Bishop in this one page, where she's watching everything that went on with Miles Morales and the battle with Norman and Osborn. And we get to see her parents peek in here. And they say goodnight to her, and they just say, sweet dreams. And her mom says, oh, Hail Hydra. And she's like, Hail Hydra. So you know that they're part of Hydra. That's their family secret that you didn't know as the reader. So now when you go back a couple issues back, you get to see why Katie Bishop was so upset at Miles Morales when he revealed that he was Spider-Man, because she knows, since she's a part of Hydra and he's Spider-Man, that they really can't be together because they're one's villains and one is they're two totally against each other. You can't be together and be with Hydra and be with Spider-Man. It's just like you can't do it, you know? So that's why she was so upset. Not that he revealed himself to her. It was just based off of the situation. So that in itself just revealed a lot there. And then at the very end of this book, you get to see Miles' dad, and he just basically says, you know, we got to talk. And so this is the first time since you saw Miles' father, since the whole end of the Ultimate Universe, when again Miles revealed himself to his dad. So in a dire situation. So good story, really good ending to the book, but the rest of the book was just very repetitive. Norman Osborn flexing his muscles, and I could have done without that part of it. The ending, which was good, and it made it seem like this was a whole Katie Bishop story, and it was really one page. So after that, I give that one a 3.5 out of 5 stars, just for the misleading conception of it. All right. Next, we go on to number 4. Number 4 went to the all-new Captain America, issue number 1. This was a really good book. This wasn't Sam Alexander being bad, or I keep saying Sam Alexander because of Nova. Sam Wilson not being bad. This just gives you a description of his story, what he went through, what his parents went through, how they died at such a young age. The book opens up beautifully here. Great artwork. Really enjoyed it. I thought Rick Remender did a nice job with this story. You get to see them infiltrate I think was a Hydra base, and you get to see him meet up with Nomad throughout the issue. It was just a high action, fun issue, and I really enjoyed it. And it was great to see the two work together here. Again, it was fun not to see Sam Wilson not evil, and I just think this kind of sets the tone of what Captain America is going to be in the future. I think it's going to be lots of action, very story driven, great book to look at, really fun read. I, again, really enjoyed it, guys. I gave this one a 4 out of 5. It ends just like this with Zemo at the last page with Taskmaster and all his other cronies. I thought it was a fun issue. I think you guys would like this Captain America if you like Sam Wilson. Now, if you don't like Sam Wilson, you might be a different story. But I like him better this way than the way he is in Access right now. So I gave this one a 4 out of 5. So next on the list is top 3, and top 3 was Batman issue number 36, Endgame, part 2. In this issue, you get to see the revelation of where the Joker has been all this time, which I thought was really neat. This issue, the artwork by the way by Capullo is phenomenal, and Scott Snyder's writing was really well done here because of the dialogue between the Joker and Bruce Wayne. I thought it was so awesome. But the issue opens up with these two doing battle, Jokerized Batman, and we get to see battle between the Superman suit or whatnot, the battle suit that he was wearing, Batman was wearing. And it was just like action packed first part of the issue, but it was just done right. There was just enough where they didn't overdo it. And basically what happens is the Joker winds up putting the entire Justice League in a hospital, and they wind up having to be out of commission for the entire week. You get to see good dialogue moments here between Bruce and Alfred, which I thought was very well done. And you also get to see, again, these dialogue moments when the Joker finally reveals himself because he was an orderly at Arkham Manor, which was amazing. I thought it was so well done. And it's just, the Joker is great. When he's intelligent, he's so awesome. And look at this picture right here. That is great Capullo artwork. So again, guys, this story was really well done. I could care less really about the backup story here, but it was good to see this book at its $3.99 price point. So after reading this book, I gave this one a solid 4 out of 5 stars. All right, next, moving forward, we're going on to number 2 this week. And number 2 is The Walking Dead, issue number 134. I did an individual review on this particular issue here. And, got some people talking, saying, is Carl the next Negan? And some people are like, well, that's stupid. And, Carl was just reacting. And I like getting rises out of people to see what they say. Do I think Carl is going to be the next Negan? No, but it's just fun to bring up those topics like that. But in this issue, you get to see the continuation of the whole Whisperer situation. Jesus dealing with the whole the Whisperers, and he's trying to save his comrade that has fallen. And there was lots of action right from the start here. Zombie killing, these Whisperer guys getting killed. They haven't felt pain. It's interesting to see where maybe these guys came from, which you will see in the future because Jesus captures one of them and he's going to bring them in for questioning. Also in this issue, the main part of this issue was Sophia and Carl having talks with each other, just having a good time hanging out with each other, and they get bullied by these assholes in the issue, gets hit with a brick, and Sophia starts defending herself, but they start beating up on Sophia. And then what happens is that when these guys get the upper hand on Sophia, Carl takes a shovel right to these kids' back of their heads. And he doesn't stop there, though. He gets totally pissed off, and he not only hurts them, but he kills them. Not one of them, but both of them. And it's something that's not quite right, I think, in Carl's mind. I get that he's there to defend Sophia, but did he have to go and kill? That's not what this group is about. They don't go and kill people, especially kids. What is Rick going to think when he finds out? I get it was in self-defense, but those kids were down. So, and that's what happens here. And you can see Sophia was all beat up. All kinds of stuff happening in this issue. Again, they take that Whisperer in for questioning. Lots of stuff. I love the way the flow is of The Walking Dead. They try not to cram everything in. They'll take it really slow if they have to. Just so the reader gets a really good impact on the story. And I love the way The Walking Dead is written. So I'm going to give this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Very well written. So, yep, and that was number 2. So next we're going to go on to number 1, guys. And this is a book that I already did a review on, but it was such a great book, and I'm happy to have it back, and that was the Superior Iron Man issue number 1. This book is so well done. This pays tribute to cover, I think it was 128, I said it was, where you had Tony Stark looking in the mirror. Well, in this one you have Groot who looks in the mirror, or I'm sorry, Rocket Raccoon in the mirror on here with the bottle next to him with Groot in there. So really awesome stuff. I really like the nostalgia to this cover. In this issue, you wind up seeing Iron Man. He comes back, but he opens up this new application, and it's called Extremis 3.0, otherwise known as Perfection. And he's created perfection throughout the entire city of San Francisco, which I thought was awesome. You get to see cool cameos in here with She-Hulk and Daredevil. Artwork is done phenomenal in this book. The colors are well colored, and it's just a visual treat to look at this book. I really liked it. The dialogue here with Tony Stark is pure Tony Stark. This is the Tony Stark, the witty Tony Stark that you know in the movies, but he's kind of an asshole. He's got that little bit more of an edge on there. It's the back in the days where he doesn't care because he started drinking again. He's all greedy with his money, and it was just awesome to see that because this is the events of Access, so that's why he is like this. But you get to see he's stopping C-list characters in personless armor, and he's having time and fun in the pool and whatnot. I thought was really awesome. And Pepper Potts is not fond of what goes on with this whole Extremis 3.0 thing. She's like, you're going to create a different class. People that can't afford this are going to be out in the streets, and people are going to think that they're better than others. And he's like, well, that's why I came up with this. I'm going to solve this solution. And he comes up with the newest version where it costs $100 a day for people to have this application. You also get to see his new armor in here, which is kind of symbiote based. And it looks like this. So it was a great issue. Here's that Extremis 3.0, $99.99 a day, which I thought was funny. And the story was so well done and so well written. Tom Taylor has done a phenomenal job in this issue, and I cannot wait to see where it goes from here. When you get to the last page of this issue, we find out that Pepper came up with this contingency plan to have this new character or this other type of Iron Man help with the situation. And this is what you get. So this is not sure exactly if this is his brother that is in this particular armor, or if this is Teen Tony, which me and my friends talked about on Comic Frontline, which he comes from a different Earth. So we're just not sure of what to think of right now, but it just left you with a cool cliffhanger with the basic armor here. Awesome stuff. I really enjoyed this book. And what makes Iron Man so good is that the last series, it sucks so bad. I'm sorry. I just did not like it at all. And when you come up with this new #1 and it totally flips the series upside down from where it was and brings back the true characterization of Tony Stark the way he used to be, I just loved it. I so enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to get issue #2. That's why this got #1 on this week's countdown, and that's why it got 5 out of 5 stars. When you have memorable comics like this, I read this. This was one of my first comics I read last week, and I still remember everything about it. When you read a comic from a week ago and you don't remember the entire story, then, well, I guess that did not make that big of an impact for you. And that's why, this gets one of the top picks this week. So, guys, there you have it. There is the countdown for the week. Hopefully you enjoyed your comics. I want to hear what your #1 comic of the week was, what your worst comic of the week was, and all that other stuff in between. And fans, don't forget, Road to Comic of the Year continues tomorrow. Getting in a lot of votes. I appreciate it. And guys, until the next comic book review, this is Mike Spiderslayer signing off. Thanks for watching, fans. Take care. Bye.